High-Octane Truth. This week we had the usual gamut of stuff going on. I guess the somewhat big news is that Hyundai is finally getting serious about going up market. But rather than coming up with an all-new name for its luxury division, it's going to borrow the Genesis nameplate's name and call the division, remarkably enough, the Genesis division of Hyundai. And this has been on their agenda for about 8 years. They were far too aggressive with their desires and belief that they were ready for this years ago. Of course, they weren't. Their cars the design was derivative and dull, and the engineering was half-assed, and vehicle dynamics was an afterthought. So they've finally gone out and hired some serious car people to steer them right. And Peter Schreier is leading the charge design-wise, and he's certainly beginning to elevate the look and feel of Hyundai products. They've hired some ex-engineers with German performance sedan background to try to get their vehicles to feel like they should be, drive like they should be. So that's all well and good. Then the vice chairman of Hyundai gets up and proceeds to say they're aiming at savvy, affluent progressives. And which set off the wince meter for me right away. I mean, they obviously went to some marketing 101 plan book for luxury automakers. Excuse me. And came up with this marketing mumbo jumbo. They're going after savvy, affluent progressives who are reasonable, progressive, and young. Really. That's it. That's the best they could come up with. This is going to launch the Genesis luxury division of Hyundai into the big leagues. I just can't believe it. You could apply the language to any number of car companies. This is another example to me of that Hyundai, when it comes to marketing, Hyundai doesn't have a freaking clue. They never have. They've come up with gimmicks over the years, but they just don't get it. So they think they're going to flip a switch and they're going to come up with this, this marketing mumbo jumbo words that, to live by. And, I'm sorry, but short of doing exceptional products that rise above the marketing bullshit they're generating, I'm not optimistic. Savvy, affluent progressives who are progressive and young. Great. Because as a car company, you sure wouldn't want to target, aging iconoclasts living off the land somewhere, or people without the financial wherewithal to even stroll through your showroom. So, they got that going for them. And then I found interesting the word reasonable in their list of brand buzzwords. Reasonable about what exactly? Reasonable in thought and demeanor, a reasonable pair of shoes, reasonable for considering a Korean brand instead of the traditional German luxury performance segment leaders. Reasonable because Hyundai doesn't want to deal with you if you're not. What the hell? Reasonable in that you're not a known card-carrying resident of Crazy Town? What, I don't get it. This is just so much unmitigated bullshit. And, Hyundai, they have grandiose dreams and aspirations. I mean, they think they should be considered at the same level as Mercedes and BMW and Audi, like right out of the gate. But when they do stuff like this, I don't give them a snowball's chance in hell The only thing that will allow them to achieve a modicum of success in this new push is if the cars are good enough. Product is key. Always has been, always will be. But if you leave it to marketing, Hyundai's demonstrated repeatedly that they're clueless. They don't know what they're doing. They'll copy someone if they have to, because, you know, when it comes right down to it, you know, they've been copying everyone for years because they lack original thought, you know, which leads me to my, you know, my next thing about this whole marketing thing, my favorite subject in all the years I've been doing this. You know, I've been listening to marketing executives for decades. I've sat in meetings, I've consulted with people. I've lived and breathed this stuff my whole adult career life. And it's always the same. It's always something like this. We did our due diligence, and our research clearly points us to go after people who can afford the prices we're asking, okay, who are hip and cool enough to understand the goodness they're being presented with, great, and who are progressive in thought and action, even some with a little maverick in them. That's the new buzz key lately with the luxury brands. Ooh, people that march to a different drummer, people that go their own way, a little maverick. These are the people who are comfortable enough to go their own way and who just don't want to drive everything else. Yeah, that's it. We're going to get them. So, you know, there's nothing new here. And of course, Hyundai is acting like they've discovered the secret stash of marketing magic beans somewhere, and they cracked the double secret code to, you know, automotive success. You know, whatever. Like I said, you can apply these Hyundai brand words to countless car companies: Buick, Cadillac, Lincoln, Lexus. They could all march into battle with those same words. You know, although Buick, you know, I always point to Buick because they've got an interesting jumble of words of their own. And they insist that Buick is an international modern luxury brand offering vehicles with sculpted designs, luxurious interiors, and thoughtful personal technologies, along with responsive yet efficient performance. Come to think of it, Hyundai probably should have borrowed that line from Buick. It would have been slightly better, although it's all just garbage anyway. So what gives exactly? You know, what goes on with these luxury automakers, and what goes into their thinking? And I can tell you this, I've distilled it down to 3 absolutes of negativity when it comes to automotive marketing, and to save us all a bunch of time. 1, lack of original thought. It's not just a plague in this business, it's standard operating procedure. Something that permeates car company marketing enclaves all over the world. I am convinced that there's a secret automotive marketing boot camp buried underground somewhere, perhaps in our vaunted salt mines underneath the city of Detroit. And it beats the same old marketing platitudes into these marketers' heads so that they can go forth and multiply, spewing their time-honored predictable givens until everyone just shrugs and acquiesces to the ongoing train wreck that's about to unfold before their eyes. And it works too. I've seen it work. Sit through enough of these meetings and you realize that the inertia is so pervasive and unimpeded that it's like sitting through a horror movie called The Invasion of the Marketing Brain Snatchers, one that no one wants to see, let alone endure in a 2-hour meeting. The next point, the unwillingness to try something else. Note I didn't say try something different, because that's expecting too much. Different is a scary word in the automotive world. Different means out of sync. Different means courting borderline ostracism. Different, excuse me. Jesus. Different means, well, we want to be hip and cool, but geez, not that hip and cool, because, you know, it's a little uncomfortable. I'll take the willingness to at least attempt something else, to see someone actually presented in a meeting full of marketing strategists, schooled in the marketing salt mines, knowing full well the room will be ready to pounce and eviscerate whoever presents this. So wonder why all this marketing gibberish sounds alike? That's it, right there. And at the end of the day, let's face it, it's easier to aim for the middle. If I've said this once, I've said it at least 1,000 times in the last 16, going on 17 years of doing autoextremist.com. And that is that mediocrity isn't bliss in this business, except when it comes to marketing. The marketing function is too often a giant sinkhole where truly creative, strategic thoughts go to die. In automotive marketing, mediocrity is in fact bliss, because to go against the grain and come up with something genuinely disruptive is often a career killer. Unless you're somebody like Olivier Francois, of course, who despite his satchel full of annoyances, and boy, they're big, is still the only auto marketing strategist at work today, at least on the client side, who truly gets it. You know, there are many more things contributing to the sameness in automotive marketing, but at the top of the list of late is the incessant, mindless overuse of social media by auto company marketers. It has become so predictable and boring and just plain stupid that it almost defies comprehension. Automotive marketing and PR strategists continue to confuse participation in the social media space with creative disruption, when in fact rarely ever shall the twain meet. Just because an auto company, orchestrated by its obligatory gaggle of PR firm minions and surrogates, just because they participate in whatever the social media of the moment craze is, that doesn't mean it's worth it or the least bit effective. Their idea of creative disruption usually amounts to a series of petty annoyances that lead to nowhere good. And this is lost on every single car company marketer in the world today, every single one. And they're wasting hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on it without the slightest burden of a clue, too. So the next time when you're perusing these luxury automotive websites, look at the keywords you see. They're all the same or similar in tone. Shared by everyone. Individual, expressive, personally tailored, intelligently designed, progressive, unrivaled, state-of-the-art, personally connected to you, effortless, passionate, luxury redefined, luxury for those who demand more, performance for those who expect more, designs for those on a different path, blah, blah, frickin' blah. And then take a step back and realize that it's all the same unmitigated bullshit, and that they're coming for your brains, and they're absolutely convinced that you can't tell the difference. Remember that. Then tune it out, walk away, and decide for yourself what really matters. Because ultimately, when it comes to marketing, the auto companies are just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks. Because after all, they've always done it that way. So what else can we talk about? The incentive game in the auto business is reaching critical mass. The auto companies, and I'm talking about all of them, domestic, import, they are spending money hand over fist. You know, it's once upon a time, the lords of the auto business declared that if a little bit of incentives worked, then a lot of them would work even better. Now, after 9/11 in this country, GM came up with the Let's Get America Rolling campaign, which was a dramatic reduction of cost on almost every GM vehicle sold. It was deemed a welcome step at a time when the American economy needed a boost. And it worked like gangbusters. It was a brilliant stroke. But this is where it went wrong. GM marketers decided that instead of just a limited time sales event, these incentives would become an ongoing marketing tactic designed to grab market share, thus reducing any specialness associated with the seasonal use of incentives. It didn't work. GM's market share never never made any noticeable spikes. But the fallout of it is incentives became standard operating procedure in a big way. It became an ingrained cost of doing business. Now, yeah, every retail marketer builds in incentives. I mean, this is nothing new, but now it's getting crazy. The manufacturers are trying to keep their momentum going in this market. They love hearing those 17 million annual sales. They think, if they keep doing it, it's going to keep going. But this is the most cyclical roller coaster business in the world. What goes up will come down with a thud. And unfortunately, the manufacturers are in this twilight zone right now where they kind of think, well, maybe this time will be different. Maybe this time we will weather this out and it'll just be an even keel. Oh yeah, we might have a little softness, but we're going to keep the hammer down and it's all going to be good. It's not all going to be good. There will be a slowdown. It will get ugly. And then all of these manufacturers will be looking at these huge incentive numbers on vehicles when the market is cool. And then the cost of doing this and the cost of doing business this way will hit them over the head again. Let me just say this. I've seen this movie many times before, and it never ends well. It won't end this, and it'll be the same in this case too. I also see Volkswagen is offering a goodwill package to its diesel owners here in the US, which consists of $500 prepaid Visa gift card and a second card worth $500 toward that can be redeemed at Volkswagen dealerships. Are you kidding me? Will this stem some of the gushy negativity that is threatening to swallow this brand whole? Oh, hell no. Will it help the plunging resale values of these diesel-powered cars? No. But, Volkswagen's trying to do something. Do they deserve a pat on the head for that? No. It's going to do zero. This brand is in deep shit. And, like I said this a month ago. I said the Volkswagen dealer body in this country is going to be whacked. I'm guessing 1/3 of these dealers are going to not make it, or they're going to walk away from the brand. And the lingering bad taste in the mouth of the American consumer with this 24/7 media saturated world we live in today is going to permanently and negatively affect Volkswagen in this country for years to come. So this goodwill package is just a waste of time. I don't think they get it. And let's see. Oh yeah, Range Rover has announced the Evoque convertible, which is our leading contender for the 2016 answer to the question that absolutely no one is asking. I don't know why they did it. I think, yeah, we live in a world of brand extensions. We see where Mini took it and went wrong. So, but Range Rover, of course, is going to be different because every manufacturer says they're going to be different. Every manufacturer thinks they're going to be, we're smarter than everyone else, and that's why it will work. Tell that to the product development people who did the Nissan Murano convertible. Look at the Range Rover convertible. It looks like a Golf with some, Range Rover design cues. Good luck with that, boys and girls. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, Lamborghini tweaked the Huracan, which is awesome. Jeff Coleman, an industry veteran, is just taking over Bentley, the chief communications officer for Bentley in North America. It's a great gig for Jeff, and it's good to see. Jeff's a veteran at GM, Audi, Nissan. And Girl thinks that we're going to have like an endless stream of Bentleys to drive in our press fleet. Yeah, as if. I like Jeff, but he doesn't like us all that much. Cadillac showed the XT5. You won't see the XT5. Let me remind everyone, you're not going to see the XT5 in a Cadillac dealership before, maybe June. But, they showed it in Dubai. They showed it at a press event. They're going to show it at the LA show. It looks much improved. It's great. I'm happy for them. But, this drips and drab rollout thing that these manufacturers are doing is just so annoying at this point that we've We've got a moratorium on it. We're not going to talk one word about the XT5 until we have one in our hands, which, given that, you know, the long succession of other publications that come before us, we figure we'll get it after Horse and Hound does. So maybe a year from now, whatever. Sorry to see George Barris pass away, the undisputed king of the customizers. If you want to read more about him, go to On the Table on the site this week. And then, of course, we have NASCAR, which, you know, sometimes I wish we didn't. I think the chase is convoluted, contrived, every other word you want to say about it. It's like a circus. And I suggest in my Fumes column that, here's a thought, 12 drivers this year have won a NASCAR Sprint Cup race. Those 12 drivers, or whoever wins in, you know, Phoenix this weekend before the final, should be eligible for the championship. If you don't have a win, you cannot win the championship. It's not really lofty thinking. It just makes more sense to me. You can read about it in Fumes on the site. Also, there's a great picture of Dan Gurney at Riverside in 1965 and a great video link on there, so you can enjoy that too. One last bit, the MotoGP season came to an end last weekend, which, you know, I'm not going to go into it right now, but Valentino Rossi did a stupid thing at Sepang, was penalized, as he should have been, and was forced to start last. He tore through the field, got up to as far as fourth, but his teammate, Jorge Lorenzo, would have had to finish third in order for Valentino Rossi to win the championship. Well, Jorge Lorenzo won the race. Valentino Rossi made some really bad comments after the race, suggesting that Marc Marquez didn't try his best. You know, it was just, I have to say, I think the world of Valentino. I think he's probably the greatest rider in MotoGP history, but he has not distinguished himself in the least in the last couple of weeks. I hope he puts that aside for next year. And of course, Jimmy Johnson whipped the NASCAR boys at Texas. It's good to see. I mean, you know, as I pointed out, Jimmy's got 5 wins and he's not eligible to win the championship. You know, there's something seriously wrong with the whole chase format. Will NASCAR do anything about it? Oh, hell no. Of course they're not going to do anything about it. Anyway, yeah, this is another episode of the High-Octane Truth. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you next time somewhere down the road. I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after, but have a good one.